introduce the players, is that with this new interface, we can actually see what the players are looking at. So you can see the two little squares on the minimap. I think that's super awesome. Right now, you can see them setting up the camera hotkeys. I've used this interface before, and I think it's awesome. So we can actually see if they are aware of something or not and what they are looking at in the beginning of the game. But yeah, that's all for now. Let's go ahead and introduce the reigning, defending, undisputed champion of the world when it comes to StarCraft 2. He was finally able to lift that Katowice trophy. Representing ENCE, it is Serral.
And in the top right-hand side for Root Gaming, it is DnS. All right, so let's see. I'm curious too to see if there's been any significant shifts in the metagame recently. There has been a small patch, of course, between seasons. So yeah, how do you feel about the small patch, Roddy? Did it change much in your games, in your latter games?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it did change a lot. I don't really die against queen walks anymore. And that means that if I want to, I can pretty much always make it up to carriers. I wasn't too big on the void race, so that didn't really affect me. It did make my life a lot easier. There is one European barcode at like 5,200, 5,300 MMR. And the man has one build in PvP. And that is the one gateway void ray rush. And it was actually really hard to deal with, man. That guy was incredibly good at it. That's all he did. I have the feeling that Blizzard personally hates that dude because his PvP is in the gutter at this point. He tried it again and it was the easiest hold of my life. But yeah, definitely a few subtle changes that just made the game a little more playable, a little more fun for me. But of course, you know, just like you do, I play the game in my own unique way and we play at a decent level. But whatever we face doesn't really change too much when it comes to what the pros are dealing with, right?
For sure, for sure. And yeah, I mean, we're going to see a pretty standard block here to start from DnS. Serral is going to have to transfer workers over, which is going to lose him like something like 40 minerals or something. I did the math on a couple maps at some point, but yeah, it's annoying. Of course, Roddy, you don't like or you don't like to probe scout early enough to block it because the Protoss also loses a little bit of timings, and it also makes it a little bit awkward because you have to send like a second probe and stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, I play in my own silly way because I play Nexus first, which is just has overall different timings. And we scout after the pylon. Don't really want to send out a second probe to then build the pylon. Don't want to build the pylon too early. But I feel like in the old days, I was always like, man, whenever the Protoss gets the pylon block off and they are forced to expand elsewhere, I was like, that's really good for the Protoss. But there is one big downside to it, and that is that every pro gamer is so damn good in spreading creep at the moment that it's nice to force their expand a bit further away and you slow their economy down a little bit. The downside is that at the 7-minute mark, it feels that creep is almost at your natural, even on big maps. Now, on Hardwire, that's kind of impossible, but on maps like Curious Minds and Berlingrad, I almost wish they just take their natural instead, so at least it takes a little while longer for that creep to truly get going.
Yeah, that is a good point. If there was a forward triangle, there is a forward triangle on this map, but it's blocked by rocks, right? So it's a little bit easier to expand to the side if you want to get the creep spread going on this map. There's going to be a double adept opening here from DnS and 2 oracles as well being hidden until the second one's available as well. So Serral's not going to have too much time to react, but he has set up a really nice perimeter here with all those circlings that are now being cleared by the adepts. So they clear a path for the oracle, but look at that. Serral readjusts instantly with a circling where the one just died.
Yeah, Serral is obviously one of the absolute finest when it comes to creating map vision early on. He's been doing this for years, just having a couple of circlings on patrol so you can see what's flying your way.
He saw it, right?
Yeah, I think he caught a glimpse of that. I mean, 3 spore crawlers are going down regardless. Maybe if the oracles go straight for the natural, they can actually show up right before. There are still so many queens, and that's where the creep is already out. That obviously is going to give Serral the heads up that these oracles are coming. And I don't think the DnS can even really commit, and he's taking a lot of damage on one oracle. That one oracle is very close to falling. It does live, but yeah, welcome to playing against Serral. It's not not the guys that you play on the ladder normally. You know, you hope for 4 or 5 drones easily. Oracle's still healthy. That is honestly kind of a painful start.
It is a really painful start, right? Because he didn't even move out with the first oracle. He was waiting for the second one, so he was really relying on that surprise element. Because at least if you move out with the first oracle, you're forcing those spores earlier. You're doing economic damage indirectly in that sense. But if you don't manage to do anything with the 2 oracles being bunched up, basically, which is the case here. It's just not good. Okay, nah. Not at all.
Yeah, there is a sport crawler that is going to reveal these stasis traps. Both stasis traps did not get activated. DnS has a quick prism behind this. Okay, so we went up to 54 workers relatively quick. We went up to 3 bases relatively quick. And we're going to recall the oracles home by the looks of it, since they are hard stuck. But maybe some zealots, archons, can actually do quite well against melee. And we do have a roach worm, but if Serral doesn't start building roaches in the near future, this could become a little bit dicey. Now also throws down the bailing nest. We did see the prism move out.
Yeah, he's been really good at scouting here, as you would expect from Serral. And yeah, I mean, that opening sequence from Serral was just brilliant, right? Like, just having the links there and readjusting as soon as one of them gets killed. Because, I mean, if you're DNS, you kind of like did the thing where you get ahead of what your opponent should be thinking. You kill the circling to clear the path, but then Serral readjusts anyway. And he moved the adepts a second time as well as the Satyr thing, like to make sure that the path was clear, and didn't spot one of the circlings patrolling. So this is rough, but we'll see if DNS can make something do with this. It's going to be Archons trading or looking to trade against roaches, but Serral microing the roaches really well to start off. Here, the Queen getting a little bit far off of creep, might be able to get sniped, but no, it turns around just in time. And I think one roach fall, but that's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, all that for one roach. But DNS did build a lot of probes behind all of this, and his oracles is still just revelating stuff. So there is definitely some hope, and there are some things to work with for DNS here, as he is going into relatively quick storm. That's not something we see ultra often, as Serral might go for a little bit of drop alert action. Yep, we're going to morph 4 Banelings on the right side. Banelings obviously don't have +2 yet, but 4 Banelings can still destroy a mineral line very quickly.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see if Serral chooses to just drop them on the mineral line, or if there's some magic he can pull here. Because if you can drop 2 on one side and two to follow, then that's ideal. So he might be looking to pause the drop or just drop them manually if he wants to maximize effectiveness. One of the oracles will fall.
Yeah. The other one is actually in pretty dangerous territory as well. So deep on creep. Feels like DNS is looking for a Spire, but there is no Spire. Dropping Revelation after Revelation. It's just Roaches, Ravages, and Banelings. But the first thing that DNS is really going to have to worry about is that Drop Alert that seems to be patiently waiting. Serral is not the kind of guy to just randomly send it in when there isn't anything else happening. So if you look at the minimap right now, Serral is going to reveal a lot of his forces in the center. DNS is obviously going to pay attention to those links. He's going to be paying attention to the Roaches and Ravages, and that would be a perfect moment to send that Drop Alert in.
Yeah, and I really love the overlay because it's really showing us how fast Serral is cycling through all the screens. And when he looks at the main, for example, he double checks, right? Like for the positioning of things to make sure that maybe his Overlord's not going to get spotted. It positions to the very edge. And like you said, he's just waiting for his opportunity. He just checked the main again. Yep. This might be where he goes, but he's going to create a distraction at the front. First, most likely, it's going to be links showing on the minimap for DNS. And DNS is going to look at the circlings. He's not looking at the main right now. DNS is not. So the Banelings are going to connect. DNS with a quick reaction, but 12 workers have already fallen in the main. And the natural has also been breached. So these probes have nowhere to run, and it is a very successful attack for Serral.
Yep, and there are still 2 Banelings remaining in that Drop Alert. I'm not sure if DNS is even aware of that, because there were so many Banelings all of a sudden, as they just busted through the natural. A couple of Archons kind of left by themselves in the center of the map. Nice storm, though, by DNS. That was a juicy one, but getting 23 probes without even the biggest investment. Here comes the Drop Alert again. It's coming back for second scats, and I have the feeling that we're going to lose 12 additional workers here.
Yeah, oh, look at that. Serral is just so masterful. There's only 5 probes to the low.
That's so smart. He showed the Drop Alert. He's like, got you. It's empty. DNS is like, damn it, he did get me. Goes back to mining. We have more Banelings now crashing into the natural. Y'all's going to have to work very hard over here. I mean, Serral's not making it easy. They will not go for the natural. Instead, they will go for the third and grab a few more. And then we have the 12 probes going down in the end. Took a few extra Banelings scats.
I wish we had something like instant replay on this because like what Serral did there was extra cool also, because he actually looked at his Overlord and he was defaulting to the side of the mineral line that had 5 probes working on it. And that's why he moved to the right, where there was like something like 12 workers. So he just looked at it, identified that, and moved towards the area that had more. But DNS reacted in time, and then he went for the trick that you were talking about. So really nice moves from Serral there. And yeah, he is in a commanding position in this game.
Super cool. Pretending it's empty, or like first pretending it's real, and then it's like, oh, never mind, got you, it's empty. Go back to mining. You still end up losing a bunch of workers. Haven't seen that interaction all that much. I'm sure it's been done once or twice, but that was really cool stuff by the great Jonas Sutala. I was wondering what DNS was going to do with that fleet beacon, because that is a very pricey building. That's not something you just casually build. This was, of course, all right before he started taking that amount of economic damage. But for now, he's just queuing up the mothership. There is a great Aspire finishing up, though, so we may actually just... I can't believe I'm saying this, Cats, but I actually think maybe Tempest is a better choice here than Carriers, because I don't think the DNS can do anything aggressively. I don't really believe in any carrier timing anymore, so you may as well just try to survive with batteries, cannons, Tempest, and a mothership.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't been paying enough attention to if this is the doing of DNS, or Serral has been not as good as he usually is in terms of creep, but I mean, the creep is not that great for Serral this game, right? So I don't know. The army of DNS is getting complex enough that it does pose a threat, I think, to any Zerg, but this is not just any Zerg is the problem.
One little adept being annoying in the bottom side, does not get any drone kills. I'm just kind of afraid that if we have 2 or 3 carriers, we are just not going to kill the Broodlords before they wipe the floor with everything that DNS has on the floor. There are 7 queens on the map as well. Most of them are going to be brought towards the front, as we do have another Ling Bane attack, and that cybernetic score is going to get blown up. No +1 air weapons for you. 12 minutes into the game, and a lot of probes are going to fall here. Maybe even the Nexus before that mothership comes out. No, the mothership does come out, but the Nexus will fall. Wow, that was close. If he would have used the Banelings before, he would have actually denied that mothership from popping.
Yeah, very difficult decision to make, though. You don't know how far along it is, so maybe, you know, don't want to waste the Banelings on the Nexus. I actually quite like that Serral blows up the Banelings manually there, because he had no vision anymore of the Nexus. So he did identify that he could have always done that before the Nexus basically disappeared, and he did count correctly, right? Which is not easy to do, because it takes so many Banelings to blow it up as well.
Serral with a very good overseer scout in the main base, sees those 2 Stargates working, sees the carriers being chrono boosted out, drops the second Spire, so we can get 2 air upgrades at a time. We are working on Carapace first. I actually think that's kind of smart, especially since the carriers don't have any attack upgrades. Corruptors are going to be very tanky. If they've got an armor advantage over the attack advantage of the Protoss air units, man, Protoss air will kind of suck. Like, it's very good if it's ahead in upgrades, but if it's behind in upgrades, Protoss air can look very underwhelming.
Most definitely. We'll see if it is going to be underwhelming this time around, as DNS seems to be posturing. What do you like here for DNS, Roddy? Should he sit back, you think, or does he need to look for this timing?
It's very difficult to say, but maybe indeed, yeah. I don't know. I think you can't really run into that many Broodlords, but nobody really wants to embrace the ultra late game, because a lot of pro gamers have unanimously agreed that there is nobody better in the late game in CVP than Serral. So damn good with those Vipers and Corruptors. So on one hand, you don't want to wait, but you also know that if you attack right now, you're not going to win the game. It's very difficult. Yeah, just chrono boost air upgrades and pray for the best. I do think that if we don't attack, we should absolutely be going up to 5 bases, though. That's for sure.
For sure. So we'll see what DNS opts to do here. His army is complex. It is difficult for any Zerg to answer this type of army, because you need the Corruptors, or you need enough Corruptors to clear the air. But, you know, the ground army is carrying itself. Lots of Immortals, lots of Archons for Zerglings, and then you have the Storm as well. 4 High Templars in this case.
Okay, maybe we just right-click on the Broodlords and hope that we can kill the Broods, and then the ground army is indeed terrifying. The thing is, it doesn't really matter how good your ground army is if you don't have a proper answer for the Broodlords, and it's going to be very hard to kill them. We do have a battery overcharge. Heal the pylon! Uses battery overcharge, but does not heal the pylon. So it seems that DNS is just going to try to send it. The Spore Crawlers are going to be very problematic. He is indeed killing a couple of Overseers. Quite a few Interceptors are out, but will it be enough?
Okay. It looks like he might be going after the Broodlords like you suggested now. So one goes down, the next one will not fall. The mothership does get abducted into a lot of spores. And this is a move that Serral basically forced with that little squad of roaches right there. He threatens the economy of DNS. So he says, you either recall, which is just terrible for you, or you go in and you have to fight me. So this is the fight that, you know, DNS was posturing for, but Serral said, yeah, this is it. Let's do it. Let you take it right now. And now it's happening. That's a lot of Corruptors. It isn't that many carriers. Most likely they're going to fall very quickly here. So it's up to the ground army. And Roddy, it doesn't look like it's going to be enough, but the Blinkstalkers do get a couple of nice pickoffs there.
Yep, I mean, a good job there, actually, kind of prioritizing Blinkstalkers and realizing that with carriers alone, we're not going to win. So it's all about the Blinky boys at this point. There are 7 Broodlords, 15 Corruptors that are also going to be kind of useless because the last 2 carriers, they are not going to add a whole lot. It is now or never for DnS. He knows that economically he's way too far behind. We just need to kill those Broodlords. He blinks forward, but I'm not sure if that's the blink that he was looking for, as he gets bungled and he gets completely swallowed up by the swarm of Serral. Not a bad opening match of the season there, though, Cats.
Not too bad at all, Roddy. And yeah, Serral, I mean, instantly he recognizes that it's mostly going to be Blinkstalkers that are going to be threatening his army. Makes 30 circlings, then 20 more. And that ended up being enough. I thought DnS had enough Archons that maybe there was a chance those circlings didn't have a good impact, but with the Blinkstalkers or with the Stalkers blinking forward, they just, they get the price that they were made for.
It's kind of a lose-lose situation there for DnS, because if you just stay at a distance, yeah, you have a good army against Lynx, but then you're just fighting Broodlings over and over again, and that's obviously a losing fight. So you kind of have to look for that opening, and you just have to blink forward and pray that your Stalkers will survive long enough to gun down 2 or 3 Broodlords, and they will still be in range. Just wasn't quite the case. Really good unit positioning there by Serral, because you could easily mess it up. At one point, you've got 15 Corruptors and 7 Broodlords, and suddenly it's not carriers that you're worried about, it's 20 plus Stalkers. And if those Stalkers do find the Broods when they're exposed, yeah, there is absolutely potential for a massive upset. But Jonas, too good, Cats. He doesn't fall for it.
Yeah, really. I wonder if there was any opening, Roddy, like when the roaches show up on the other side, like if DnS, like you said, just right clicks on the Broodlords with all the carriers, maybe blinks into the Broodlords and just commits to that as hard as possible, as soon as possible. Maybe, like, as a Zerg player, it feels like, I don't know how Serral, well, Serral's obviously Serral, he knows that he can split so much supply. It looks like a little contingency of units that goes for the economy of DnS there, but it's like 20 supply, right, worth of roaches. And it already feels like the Protoss army can be really difficult to hold with the full brunt of your army. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe there was some chance there for DnS, but not the case.
If Serral didn't have that many Spore Crawlers, it would have been a lot harder for him to keep that interceptor count as low as he did, because we started with 5 carriers, so potentially 40 interceptors, but obviously after 20-30 seconds of fighting, felt that we were down to 8 to 12 interceptors, and then, yeah, the carriers, they don't really add much to the fight anymore. Yeah. So very well done by Yona bringing those Spore Crawlers over to where he needed them the most. And indeed, like, it could feel scary to split up army supply there, but in the end, it was pretty convincing there by Serral.
Yeah, for sure. And the longer that those engagements go for, the better it is for Yona. So he really played it to perfection. And yeah, game 2. Let's see if this man here can do a little bit better. It is for Root Gaming DnS.
In the top left side of Curious Minds, one of the smaller maps in our current map pool, we're looking at the main base of the world champion of StarCraft 2, representing ENCE. It is Serral. Do you think Reiner loses a hair every single time we introduce Serral as the world champ?
Maybe so. You would know better.
No, I think Reiner was pretty happy with his run overall. It is heartbreaking, of course, all right? If you make it to the grand finals and you even put yourself 3-2 ahead, I think at one point, was a great final, man. Katowice definitely, in my eyes, lived up to the hype. And I think throughout that week, we had some absolutely amazing games and great storylines as well, with players like Ryong having a deep run and Gabe having the best performance of his career. Curious to see if Gabe can continue that. And maybe he's no longer just the gatekeeper, but what if Gabe is just the main contender to win this entire DreamHack Masters Valencia regional? That'd be fun.
Yeah, that would be incredible. And I mean, he has been doing amazing. He did great at Katowice, like you said. So I'm really looking forward to Gabe. Already a really cool little play from Serral there as he moved out with his first drone. He pathed towards the triangle because the drone was hugging the wall. But as soon as he gets past the probe of DnS, he turned around and went for the vertical third here. So DnS, in getting out of Serral's base, actually check the triangle first. But there is a world where DNS doesn't check and just assumes it's a triangle and wastes time, say, when the adepts come out. Or even in checking, he loses a little bit of extra time. So a really cool little detail from Serral there. It could have also been that he changed his mind and there's nothing, nothing to look into there. But yeah, seeing as it is Serral, I like to give him credit for that.
I think both locations are very good in getting it creep out there, though. Like, you send 3 creep tumors, you're basically already past the Zelnaga Watchtower. Creep tumor number 4 is reaching the triangle of DNS. And even though the Roach Queen attacks are not really supposed to be the meta anymore because the Queens can transfuse off creep, on this map, well, you can still kind of do it because you can still have creep there. And it's very hard to do something about that as a Protoss. Lings are going to get on top of this probe. Twilight Council is a nice change, though. You think it's going to be Resident Enclave Adepts, or are we going to get some Dark Templar action? Taking a look now. Seems like it's going to be Glaives because we have taken away 2 probes from the assimilator in the main base. I don't hate Glaives on this map. I think it's always kind of solid.
Yeah, like you said, it's one of the shorter maps, and he knows the position of Serral, this vertical base taking. But I mean, yeah, Glaives is the. I mean, every opening Serral will have gone up against a lot. So, yeah, it's so difficult to surprise him. I think he's gonna be aware of what's going on. The Stalker, especially, is gonna give further information. Right? It's usually just adepts when you open Stargate to save up on that gas. So the Stalker is gonna try to deny information, but Serral will have to anticipate that it's most likely gonna be something like Glaives.
Mm-hmm. Couple of extra pilots going down. Now, there are many different ways to play this. You can go 3 gates, you can go 4 gates. Sometimes we go up to 6 gates, and we're being real cheeky, and we pretend that we go up to 3 bases, but we don't. We just keep on printing adepts. It goes brrr, I believe. That's what I've read on the internet. We're printing them out one by one. So DNS is going to take the triangle base here, by the way. This is such a difficult base to hold, though, because once that creep gets out there, I'm actually really surprised that DNS is willing to play on this map in a best of 3. We didn't spend too much time talking about that, but for a lot of Protosses, I feel like this is the first or at least second veto. But yeah, here we are.
All right, yeah, and here come the adepts. The base is a little surprising. Maybe he feels like he's gonna be the one applying the pressure and wants to end this game early because, I mean, otherwise, like you said, the creep is gonna favor Serral to get to that position from the position that he has taken. So DNS will hit him significantly faster, perhaps than normal. Not finding anything just yet with his adepts, though.
Some lost mining time, but now indeed it's going to get dicey. We're going to lose at least 2 adepts, I think. Maybe even a little bit more than 2. There goes number 3, that goes number 4. And that was definitely a bit of a disaster. The one thing we can say that is somewhat nice for DNS, obviously none of this is nice, as 3 more adepts get surrounded at the bottom of the Nitro of Serral. Wow, I don't think I've ever seen this, by the way. We have lost 8 adepts and we have killed 15 Zerglings. 0 drones. That is a disaster trade. One of the worst trades in the history of PvZ trades, maybe ever, Cats.
It is, yeah, I mean, it is. I would not have blamed them or be surprised still if DNS just gave up soon here. Because, I mean, it's only going to get worse. And his base positioning is not going to help him either. That means he's in the most open position for Serral to flood him with whatever he wants, for him to develop that creep and just get in his face very early into this mid game here. So, it's tough. He's going for Blink, Roddy. So your first question of the day was answered here by DNS. He will transition into the heroic style.
Yeah, but that was more. I was more thinking like, are we going to see the Tree Oracle into all the Blink Stalkers with +1? Yeah. But yeah, we'll see at least some Blinky boys here. Before I was able to finish my sentence because 3 additional depths went down, and that's of course very problematic. I want to say the only good thing for DNS in this game, and it's legit the only good thing, is that Serral made 2 Spore Crawlers that he absolutely did not need. Worried about TTs as a follow-up, I guess. So it's like, that's a little victory for DNS, but then he lost 8 adepts to kill 15 Lings. And, well, I think Serral could build 7 more Spore Crawlers and he'd still be okay in this game.
Yeah, I think so, especially at this point. So it's looking really rough. The Overseer will get a good scout, as Serral Overseers usually do. So he has checked the base of DNS. Knows what to expect. DNS is dropping a Robo Bay out of vision of Serral after Serral left, so there's still potential there for. I guess he'll go into Disruptors from this position.
Maybe Colossus. I wouldn't hate Colossus, to be totally honest. But yeah, I think both can be fine. But I think if you have that many Blink Stalkers, we've got +1. Like Disruptors, they don't benefit anything from the Forge upgrades. I wouldn't hate it. And since we're also investing in some Zealots with charge, I always feel that Zealots with charge and Disruptors at the same time is not great. A couple of Stalkers may get surrounded here. I think 2 Stalkers will go down. Blink still on cooldown. It is going to be a Disruptor first though, Cats, so you were definitely right in that regard. We're gonna need some very big connections with those Disruptors, that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you on everything that you said, though. Compositionally, I think the Colossus make more sense. Just given the state of the game, I feel like Disruptors is the Hail Mary that he needs. Because if he doesn't get huge shots, he's just going to get overwhelmed if he goes Colossus, right? Because he's just going to have so much less than he would normally have, given how poorly his early game went. And he's expecting an attack, which is coming. If the Disruptor was already here, maybe there would be a good shot for a very good connection. And it is here. Will he get it? Oh, no. Serral runs in time, and the Disruptor connects with nothing. And this is looking awful now, as DnS will warp in behind his middle line. The battery overcharge is still going. Serral now focuses it down as he continues to plow on through. And now Serral is in a very good position. Good concave, however, for DnS. Second Disruptor is here, but Serral already sees it and repositions. Nice. Okay, a Ravager and a Roach will fall, and with that, DnS is looking to push back Serral.
Wow, that was actually really good, man, by DnS in the end. It didn't start off all that well. That battery overcharge, even if it was still going, it was unpowered actually because he lost the pylon. But a lot of probes were hit by the Banelings, but they were all healed up, or at least over time. The shields just regenerated. And that second Nova was actually a very good one. I think we got a Ravager and 2 Roaches. And Serral was not working with the biggest economy. So with an attack like that, you absolutely want to kill 10 plus, if not 15 workers. He didn't get any of that, and we definitely have a game on our hands now. Like, if this wasn't DnS against Serral and we would push the creep back a little bit, we wouldn't even hate this for the Protoss. Be like, okay, down 30 supply, but that's okay. There is no hive tech. We've got +2 finishing up. We've got Disruptors. We've got Stalkers. This actually looks pretty decent for DnS.
Yeah, and good connection there again. These Banelings, though, are also looking to connect. Only 1 warping available for DnS, unable to block. That was a little bit unforgiving. If he had a couple of warpins there to completely block, that would have been fantastic. But as it stands, Serral does kill 15 probes. And yeah, also, I mean, before that, before those 15 probes went down, yeah, I have to agree completely, Roddy, because there was also the 4th being taken by DnS, right? So holding that attack at all is good news for him, as he is now Venturous out in the map.
Yeah, 4 base against 4 base. Now soon to be 5 bases for Serral. It's going to take a little while. Serral will just continue trying to beat down the economy of DnS, but it seems like there aren't too many openings to be found. No, just when I say, oh my goodness. Clutch warp in there with the gateway. We are still going to have to bring some units over because these links do have +2 melee already, so they are very feisty Zerglings. Oh, the Banelings again, I think, into the 3rd. Exactly. And they're stuck. They can't go anywhere.
Oh, nice try by DnS. They're trying to block the second half of the run by not going to be able to. So an additional 12 to bring up the tally to 27 or whatever that is. It's a lot in recent history for DnS to have lost. And yeah, I mean, this creep spread that you were talking at the very start of the game has been a problem for DnS, right? Serral has had an avenue that's so quick to harass this triangle 3rd, and DnS hasn't been able to do much about it. Links are going to get onto this shield battery, and with that, the cannon is going to be no longer protected. This is now go time for DnS. It's do or die. A couple of Disruptor shots are okay. Morphin Banelings, of course, will refund Serral. A nice Zealot run from DnS, trying to do what he can.
But now we're not doing too hot in the top side of the map, though. There is a Warp Prism with a very big Zealot Warp in, and it seems like the Serral was actually not paying attention. He could have absolutely picked off that Warp Prism. Busy dealing with the Zealots, I guess, and also still dealing damage with the Links. I think Serral should bring back the Links that he still has working on in the simulator at the 3rd base of DnS. He has killed everything there, but he needs those units at home at this point.
Yeah, he's gonna go for the remaining base of DnS, the former 4th. But that base is no longer mining either. So Serral feeling confident, and as long as he can delay, maybe he can even give up this base if he needs to. But yeah, I agree. At some point, he will have to collapse, and now seems to be go time for Serral. No Disruptor shots available, and this should be the end of this game. Those links not even necessary to bring back, and Serral will with the expected 2-0.
Sick multitasking there by Serral, and it almost